Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Scott Haggerty, and let's say here goes nothing. Today, I am here because I want to start talking to you about something that has absolutely become a passion of mine. So, about 5 years ago, I was, let's just say, introduced, but probably more providentially shown, this amazing new thing called brain laser therapy. And I wanted to talk to you about this because I've spent the last 5 years of my life diving into research study after research study after application and after applying it here in my practice. And I have just perpetually been amazed by what I have learned and what I have seen by using brain laser therapy here in my practice. And as I've read more research about it, the more I've become enthralled with the possibilities of what we as clinicians can do if we implement brain laser therapy into our practice. So the goal of the videos here, the articles that we're writing, all of the things that we're doing are to teach you about brain laser therapy, show you the possibilities of what you can do to go and help your patients. And in the grander scheme of things, I want to start a brain health revolution by getting 100,000 doctors doing brain laser therapy in their practice in the next 5 years. Because the fact is once you understand the research, what it can do for your patients, how it can change people's life, it's going to be hard to not want to introduce brain laser therapy into your practice. Because when I first started rolling it out, right, it was pretty simple, right? I read research studies, I looked at what they did, and then I analyzed the protocols, and then I said, hey, let's see if we have people that fit these types of things. And I talked to people who'd actually already gone through and completed chiropractic care with us and said, let's see if these brain laser protocols will help your child, your loved one, to get an improved result. And so, first case, perfect example, is we had a little girl, 18 years old at the time, who had been dealing with selective mutism, right? And if you know anything about selective mutism, then you know how life altering it can be. If you're not familiar with selective mutism, for kids that struggle with it, it is an extreme form of anxiety where they would not be able to directly interact with anybody that is not really mom or dad. They get stricken by anxiety so much so that they are unable to speak. So we had this girl, we'll call her AB, and she'd been dealing with issues with this selective mutism for her whole entire life. Mom and dad had tried a million things, and we had done neuropediatric care that we do here in our office, and we'd gotten good results on certain things, but we never really saw a ton of progress on her selective mutism. And so what triggered me was I had gotten done reading a study on anxiety. And it was a comparative study where they were talking about the use of the most common anti-anxiety medicines versus brain laser therapy, also known as transcranial photobiomodulation. And I read the results of the study and I was just floored. The brain laser therapy absolutely destroyed the results of the medicine. Brain laser therapy was exponentially better, but here's the most important thing. There were zero side effects. Zero. Not one negative side effect was reported to anybody that was a participant in the study. And I read several other studies about depression and things like that where they were showing the brain laser therapy beat the pants off of the medicines. So this was really something where I was like, gosh, if this is true, and then we can really help this young girl and others to improve their quality of life. So her mother, who happens to be a physical therapist, very well educated, I sent her the research study. I said, hey, let's talk about this. Let's see if you would like to maybe perhaps give this a try for your daughter and see how she responds. So she and her husband talked through it. They read the study and they said, you know what, let's do this. It seems safe. Everything points back to this should be, at bare minimum, no harm and potentially a significant improvement in her quality of life. So we began the care, and it was 2 laser therapies per week for 8 weeks, so a total of 16 laser therapy visits. And when mom got back to me periodically throughout the course of the laser therapy, it was a laundry list of massive improvements and firsts for this young lady. Things such as she had never been able to go to a restaurant and speak to the server on her own. She always had to speak through mom to the server, and she was doing that. She was able to, for the first time in her entire life, place an order at a Chick-fil-A to the cashier without having to speak through mom. She did it all by herself, and when the cashier didn't hear everything and she had to repeat herself, it didn't cause her stress. She was able to go to the store with mom and her brother. Normally, this would have created tremendous amounts of stress. She did just fine, no issues, did great. They had fun. It was playful. She had a play date with a friend that came unexpectedly. Now, mom, when she explained why this is so significant, never in her entire life to this point had there ever been any time where she'd had an unexpected visitor that it did not create major stress, major breakdowns, massive anxiety, all kinds of problems. Mom had an unexpected guest come into town who had a daughter that was the same age as her. They played for 6 hours, and after it was all done, she still did great. There was no meltdown, there was no breakdown. She was just fine. Mom was floored. I was floored because I'd known her. I'd seen obviously what she was going through over the period of time that I've been taking care of her, and it was amazing. I began to realize we're really onto something where it was literally shining a laser light onto her brain in targeted areas, and then her brain was able to start to make positive changes. Now, it's more in depth. That's the goal of these videos. That's the goal of the articles that we're going to be writing, is to teach you why this works, to teach you why this is having these kind of effects on patients that we care for every single day. Because think about it. If you have a case like this in your office, whether you're a chiropractor or you're in other allied health professions, you're in medicine, you're a psychiatrist, you're a psychologist, if you could utilize tools like this to go and help your patients, and you could help someone that's been locked into this state of high anxiety for years, what would that mean to their quality of life? And you didn't have to resort to medicines to help them. How amazing would that be? How many lives can you change? How many people can you help? And more importantly, doing it safely, not having to worry about the flurry of side effects they may experience over the course of the time that you're caring for them. This can be a way that you can dramatically improve your results by dramatically improving the natural function of a person's brain, by using infrared and near-infrared light to help their brain to function more normally. And I like that word, because many times when you look at a lot of these anxiety disorders, these stress disorders, it's overfiring in certain areas. If you can normalize brain function, help the brain to be able to do what it's designed to do, then the quality of life improvements can be astronomical. So as we make successive videos, as we start to build out more of this, we're going to dive into individual research studies. We're going to talk about case studies like this. I want to help you so that you can really understand the possibilities of what you can do to change people's lives. Because the company that Dr. Lena and I, my wife, created, my amazing partner who's supported me, who helped me to write my book, Brain Laser Therapy, Advanced Applications in Neurology and Neurodevelopment. She supported me through all of this in compiling the research and doing the work. This has been really a passion project to really teach people about this, because the work that has gone into creating the content, the book, the research, all the stuff that we've compiled, the more you read, the more you understand, the more you learn in successive videos and articles that we're going to write, I think the more that it's going to really open you up to an entirely new way that you can help people that maybe you've never dreamt of. And I know if had I learned this earlier in my career, I think I would have seen exponentially better results with the patients that I cared for that are the more complex cases. Because the great thing is that really just about anybody, there's very few contraindications to brain laser therapy. So when you can bring patients into the fold from infants and children to adults, the possibilities become endless in who you can help. I mean, we have seniors who are getting brain laser because of memory issues, and we're seeing massive improvements in their memory. It's really, the possibilities are so much bigger than what I can convey to you in just one episode today. And that's why as we go through, the goal is going to be, we're going to take it episode by episode, breaking down what the different things that we can work with or what we have worked with are, explaining to you case studies, explaining to you the research studies, explaining to you the mechanisms, and then helping you to be able to go and become certain that you can do this in your practice, and then helping to train you to do this. Because that's the ultimate thing, right? I'm one practitioner. I'm one practitioner who's seen something absolutely miraculous here in our practice that I want everyone else to be able to go and implement in yours. So we're going to help you to get the training. We're going to help you to get the skill set. We're going to help you to get the knowledge so you can tackle the most complex cases with certainty. Because ultimately, that's going to be the way that we can congruently change the world using brain laser therapy. And I'll tell you, We get people every day who share their changes. And I want for you that you can have these kind of changes in your life, because whether it's a girl like AB dealing with anxiety, or kids who are dealing with focus and attention issues, and you're helping them to see massive improvements in their ADHD issues and coming off of the stimulants, or it's people who are having cognitive decline and you help to improve their memory, whatever it might be. You can change lives in ways that I don't think anybody would have imagined before brain laser therapy. So we're going to dive in. I'm going to wrap up here because I think we've gone far enough for today. But tune in, subscribe to the podcast, sign up for our newsletter, start getting this information, because I'm going to unpack it all. I want to share everything with you so that you can really get the grasp of the big idea, so we can start this brain health revolution and help millions and millions of people, so that the work that we've seen here, the things that we've seen, we can get it out there to everybody. And by doing so, we can change the world. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this was beneficial, do me a favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe, please share. We've got to get the message out. I need as many people as we possibly can to start getting this information. I think once you start seeing what we will talk about on here, it's going to be hard to not want to move forward to learn more about this, because I guarantee you, every single person who's in practice, you're going to think of a patient and think, gosh, could I have done better? How could I have helped them? Can this be something that maybe would help these patients that we're dealing with? Make sure you're getting involved, interact, ask me questions. What else do you want to learn about? Because we've got so much content here that we're going to produce, but I want to make sure we're speaking specifically to what you guys need. God bless you guys. See you on the next episode.